24/7 TV. A shooting in Washington, D.C. on Sunday has left one person dead and several others injured, including one police officer. A spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police Department told 24/7 TV that 4 people were shot, including one police officer, who did not return fire in the crowded area. Metropolitan Police Department Chief Robert J. Contee III said later the victims included the 15th of February 26, who was pronounced dead at the scene, 2 adults, and the officer. The MPD officer was shot in a lower extremity and is expected to survive, the chief said. Breaking. MPD confirms that a juvenile male who was shot at Houston NW did not survive and is now deceased. An MPD officer who was shot is recovering. Another 2 individuals suffering gunshot wounds are also recovering. Chief Contee said the shooting took place at an unpermitted event in connection with Moechella, which is described as an advocacy festival amplifying the culture of Washington, D.C. We need to make sure individuals are held accountable for their actions, Contee said. Video from the scene of the shooting shows officials helping multiple people lying on the street. When you have large gatherings in a dense area, it only takes one person with a firearm to make this a dangerous setting, the police chief added. Contee also said several illegal firearms were recovered by police officers earlier in the night, and at least one firearm had an extended magazine. The firearm that was used on the officer was not recovered, he said. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser also spoke during the presser, calling for accountability for those responsible. The event's marketing had convinced the MDP that a heavy police response would be necessary, and over 100 officers were sent to monitor it, Contee said.
As I mentioned, the juvenile, it appears he's 15 years of age. Next question. Yes.
Did the officer fire any shots?
No, the officers did not fire. We had a lot of officers in the area, but none of our officers fired shots. There's a total of 4. So there are 3. So you have the juvenile, you have two adults, and then 1 police officer.
For the firearm, it was a handgun that was being used.
Yes, it appears it was a handgun that was being used. That's correct.
Was it a legal handgun or was it a illegal handgun?
My guess is illegal. It had an extended, well, the firearm that was used to shoot the police officer and others, we have not recovered that firearm yet. We recovered a firearm off one of the victims in this case.
But not the firearm that was used to shoot?
No, we have not recovered that firearm as yet. Yes, next question. Next question?
Yes,
Okay, I'm sorry, I think right here, I was kind of having a hard time seeing. Yes. Hi, Lindsay. Yes.
Anything that you would say the organizers of the event, it was
Well, we will certainly want to make sure that people are held accountable when they hold unpermitted events in our city. This is one of the reasons why we don't want unpermitted events taking place in our city. Unfortunately, things like this can happen when you have the wrong mix of people or people who introduce firearms into a situation. That's unfortunate, and we'll be having conversations with those persons very, very shortly and look at what legal action should be taken as a result of an unpermitted event in our city.
Do you have any sense about whether this 15-year-old who was shot and killed was targeted or perhaps an unintended victim?
It's hard to say at this point. I honestly don't know. We're in the very preliminary stages of the investigation. I just don't know. I think one of the things, Lindsay, when I think about, again, this incident, right before the shooting occurred, our officers recovered a firearm, an illegal firearm, right here in the 1400 block of U Street. And shortly before I walked down here, our officers recovered another illegal firearm down in the 1400 block of T Street, and was chasing another person with a legal firearm in the area. So, I mean, I think, there's a theme that you see here. Illegal firearms in the hands of people who should not have them make events like this unsafe for people who just want to enjoy the beautiful weather, who want to enjoy Father's Day, and want to enjoy our city. This is unacceptable, and I think, as we continue to go through this investigation and we peel back the layers to really see what happened, we need to, as a city, we need to make sure that individuals are held accountable for their actions. Last question, yes.
A number of guns that were involved, not just the other stuff, but like this particular incident, how many people were?
It appears just the one gun in this incident, but because of the density of the people, again, you got 3 people to include a police officer who was 3 people and a police officer who was shot.
But it wasn't an exchange of gunfire.
No, it does not appear that there was an exchange of gunfire.
In the Moechella, I mean, you look online, it was publicized pretty widely that was going to be happening tonight. Did you all?
Yeah, of course, we responded out. Again, we had upwards of over 100 police officers who responded to this event. Initially, it was supposed to be around the 5 o'clock hour. We had officers up here. We sent additional officers. This initially started on the sidewalk. When people gather on the sidewalk of the District of Columbia, not so much a problem, but when things spill out into the street and it starts to impact traffic, that becomes a problem. As you know, we handle First Amendment assemblies in our city all the time, and we're dealing with a major event, not far from here. But in this space, when people start to spill into the street, there's several things that we have to think about. We have to think about, cars driving through and striking individuals. You have to think about people who are in this area. There's no firearms safety or magnetometers or anything like that in this area. So when you have large gatherings in a dense area, all it takes is one person introducing a gun to the situation that makes it deadly. In this case, unfortunately, a 15-year-old lost his life in this case. So my condolences to that 15-year-old's family, as well as the other people that are injured. I'm headed to the hospital to check on our police officer and his family as well. All right, thank you. Yeah, we'll be having those conversations with the Office of the Attorney General about what that looks like. Thank you.
I just want to echo what the chief said. We have a child who was killed today at an event that did not have any proper planning for the number of people who are here, and with guns involved, and with our police managing a crowd on site, somebody used a gun and a child is dead. And so the chief and I will continue to make sure we have the resources we need on these corridors and all of our corridors, but we need some accountability here. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, subscribe my channel. It's Mike from 24/7 TV.